Hi everyone, my name is Amy and I'm going to show you today how to etch powder coated tumblers, specifically the Yeti 20-ounce tumbler. Although at the end of the video I'll show you a couple more I've experimented with using the same exact method. But first, one of the most asked questions was about the type of font I use and how I got the tails. The method I use is for iPad. Not to say it won't work the same or similar on a computer, but when it comes to getting the font on the iPad, I did an extra step which involved downloading the Unicode app for 99 cents. So the first thing we'll do is open Cricut Design Space and open a text box. The font I'm using is called Limited that I've already downloaded from dafont.com. So let's go ahead and select Limited as our font. Okay. Then I'm going to jump to the Unicode app so I can add the tails, the flourishes, and the last letter of the name. Once in the Unicode app, I'm going to select Browse Files. A window will pop up, and because I've already downloaded Limited, it will appear on the app. Scroll down, select Limited. Now you can see the font and its glyphs. I'm going to click on the background, scroll down to find the letter with the tail that I need. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the Send button. Click on that. Select Share Glyph, and then select Copy. Now we can head back over to Cricut Design Space. I'm going to click on the text box, then double click, and select Paste. Now you can see my letter in the box. So I'm going to delete the word text and simply fill in the rest of the name as needed. From a computer, you should be able to just copy and paste from DaFont, but again, this is just for the iPad. Okay, so now we're going to go over your supplies. You will need your powder-coated cup of choice and something to hold it in place. An old dish towel should do just fine. Paper towels, Citristrip Gel, a paint-safe container like a small paint tray or plastic cup, your personal protective equipment. You want a decent pair of gloves, a mask, and safety glasses, all of which you can get at any hardware store. You'll need quality permanent vinyl. I use Oracle 651. That's to create your stencil. Some transfer tape. Painter's tape. I use Scotch Blue. Isopropyl alcohol to clean the cup. Cotton rounds or just some paper towel for the alcohol. I'm using a paint stick to apply my gel. You'll need Reynolds wrap. We'll get into that later. A heat gun or even a hairdryer will work. A tape measure to measure your cup for the stencil. And a toothpick or skewer, something to gently test the paint to see when it's done. So our first step is cleaning the cup with isopropyl alcohol. You don't need much. This is just to clean any grease, dirt, or oils from your hands that could hinder the process. From here, it's best to use gloves, except I forgot to do so learn from me. This will also help your permanent vinyl stick to your cup. Some people question whether or not the permanent vinyl came off easily, and yes, it does. A little later, I'll show you a trick for that as well. Okay, that looks good. So now it's time to apply my stencil to the Yeti tumbler. One question a few people asked was about what I'm using to hold my cups. I had an old pool noodle lying around from some crafting. It was supposed to be a giant gummy worm. So I had a thin welding rod running through the pool noodle to shape it. I cut the pool noodle so it was a few inches shorter than the rod. Then I bent the pool noodle and used the extra inches to hook the two ends of the pool noodle together. Not pretty, but it gets the job done. So one of the first things I noticed about this tumbler is the Yeti logo is on two sides. So I'm going to put my stencil between the two. And you want to measure your tumbler to figure out what size you'd like your name or image to be. I wanted about 1.5 inches on each side of the name, so I went with 4.5 inches. Now when it comes to your permanent vinyl, use something that has worked faithfully for you. So far on all my cups, Oracle 651 has worked great. Now I'm going to grab my stencil and start placing it on the tumbler. I like to start in the middle and then work my way out. Just make sure I get it in the right spot. Once I'm happy with my placement, I can start pushing the vinyl down. Now your vinyl is going to be the best protection for your tumbler from the gel. So I made sure my stencil was a decent size, which was 4 inches by 3 inches. So just get all the bubbles out, even though I know I'll have to fix it later. And this lovely Cricut vinyl is being extra sticky today. Okay. Here I want to show you that trick I was talking about. So as I'm removing the transfer tape, I'm going to fold a little piece of the corner of the vinyl. This is so when it's time to remove the permanent vinyl, it's a lot easier for me to catch the corner. Just like that. When removing the transfer tape, I just want to watch for any lifting. I'm more than likely going to have to fix most of it anyway. I'm paying close attention to those really thin areas as well as the pieces inside, the A and that dotted I. There we go. All right, so we've removed the transfer tape, and I really want to watch for any bubbling around the stencil. I like to just use my thumbs to smooth it out. You can always use a scraper here too. You want to double check those super thin areas like the tail. Any bubbling around the far edges of the vinyl won't matter because we'll be taping the tumbler. The next thing I'm going to do is apply medium heat with my heat gun. Now I have a Cone 1800 watt that I got on Amazon for about 25 bucks. And yes, a hairdryer should work just as well. I definitely don't go any warmer than a hairdryer. So here I'm just trying to warm the vinyl a bit to get it to stick really well. I swear this right here is why my lines come out so crisp. And then I'm going to smooth it out again, paying close attention to those important areas. This end piece is giving me a run for my money, I swear. Okay. One more time. And that should do it. And perfect. Now it's time to tape the tumbler. I have 2 different size rolls here, but they're both Scotch Blue painter's tape. I like to use the smaller, thinner size on the ends of the cup. You want to make sure the tape overlaps the vinyl, and then smooth any bubbles or creases down. Now here I can talk about quality tape as well. Some people like dollar store painter's tape, and that's fine. Just make sure you double up maybe a little more than that. But the Scotch Blue, I haven't had any issues with yet. I also like to use the 2-inch strips. They cover a wider area. Again, making sure the tape overlaps the permanent vinyl. And then curling the ends around the rim and the bottom of the cup. Wherever the vinyl isn't on the cup, I double up my tape. I do not want that Citristrip Gel to seep through. One more here, and we'll do one more on the back side. You can see here where the vinyl ends. I'm going to make sure I overlap that spot and double up. Can't be too safe, right? And there we are. Okay, Let's get our gloves and the rest of our PPE. We have our Citristrip Gel that is very low odor, by the way. You want to give that bottle a decent shake. To put the gel in, you can use a paint pan. They're super cheap at any hardware store, but today I'm going to use a plastic cup. You don't need a lot of gel. Truthfully, I use more than is necessary. Okay, then I'm going to close that back up. Now I'm going to use my quart paint stick to apply the gel. You can use a foam brush if you like, or a soft bristle paintbrush, but I wouldn't recommend anything rough. So when applying the gel, I like to put a decent amount on. Again, you don't really need this much, but it makes my brain feel better. I don't know. I'm going to gently put the gel over the stencil. I like to use a sort of circular motion. I really try not to touch the stencil with the stick, but it happens. Okay, I'm going to use a little more for the tail. You really want to make sure you get those thin spots. You also want to make sure the gel isn't dripping down or looks like it's about to drip down. Okay. A little bit more here. And that looks good. So this is where the Reynolds wrap comes in. Some people skip this step and that's great. For me, it works much better with the foil. You do what works for you. I'm going to place the foil over the tumbler. I'm kind of just tenting it until right when I feel the foil touch the gel. I do not push it down. I definitely don't want the gel to spread. I'm just going to gently tuck the foil underneath, leave the ends open, and we're good. Now it's time to apply the heat. Again, I'm just using the heat gun on medium. My goal here is to create a humid environment. Where I am now, it's only 20 degrees today. The cold can absolutely have an effect on your etching times, as can the heat. Humidity will speed up the process. The cold will slow it down. Okay, it's been a couple minutes and the foil over the gel is warm to the touch. That's exactly what I'm looking for. It's 5:52 now. Let's check back in 50 to 60 minutes and see if it's ready. So it's been 60 minutes on the nose. I'm going to put my gloves back on and very carefully remove the foil. Again, you don't want to spread that anywhere. Just going to pick it up, unfold, and looks pretty good. I like to use a toothpick to check the tumbler. I just know if I use my weeding tool, I will totally scratch it somehow. So I'm just gently scratching the paint, and it's definitely ready. I like to check a few spots just in case. And then time to take the paper towel and wipe off the excess Citristrip gel. That tin foil is also now a great spot to throw my paper towels covered in gel. And you can see it came right up with just the toothpick. Okay, so we've moved over to the sink and I'm going to scrub off the rest of the paint. You want to be sure you're using a non-scratch sponge. I'm using these Scotch-Brite sponges and they work great. You're going to want to use warm water. Some people say to use as hot as you can stand it, but I haven't had that be the case for myself. Now don't be afraid to really scrub it. You want to make sure you're getting in that stencil, and especially in those really tiny areas. It definitely got easier as the water got warmer. You can see the vinyl that was in the A, it just scrubbed right off. So now I'm going to remove the painter's tape so we can get the stencil off and finish scrubbing. Now remember that trick I showed you with folding back the corner of the vinyl? Here we go. The corner's right here, and that's going to help me pull it off really, really easily. For permanent vinyl, I thought it would be tough to get off too. Alright, so now we're going to finish scrubbing it. Again, don't be afraid to scrub. If you don't have a sink where you are, you can easily do it in a bucket. Look at that. It looks amazing. Beautiful. So here is our finished product. Again, I used the Yeti 20-ounce tumbler, but I've also tried a couple other brands. Here is the towel from Walmart and the Ello brand from Target. The times for those were both 30 minutes. Honestly, the towel brand could have been done 5 to 10 minutes sooner. This is the towel from Walmart. This is the Ello. I just did a test circle. And these are the other Yetis I did. I hope this video was a help to you all. I know I was really hesitant to try it, but so far I've been having a blast making these cups. The best advice I can give you is watch all the videos. Find what works for you. Don't let anyone tell you you're doing it wrong. So get to etching those tumblers. Have a great day, everyone.